If you've ever wanted a guide to just get off your tail in Homestead already, we've got exactly what you're looking for and a fantastic discount. You're going to love our ebook, Get Off Your Tail in Homestead. It's full of lived experience and wisdom from a family who did exactly what you want to do. Break out of the city and get into that life of less stress and more freedom in the country. Find it on getofyourtail.com and use our code PODCAST for 20% off our Get Off Your Tail and Homestead ebook. That 20% off code is just the word podcast, and Get Off Your Tail and Homestead ebook is yours.
What do you do whenever you need a break with your pigs because you have too many piglets and a small property and you just have too many animals and one of the animals you're kind of attached to and maybe you should just eat them? That's the conversation. Should we butcher Missy, our sow, who is not even all that great of a pig? It's not, we're kind of attached. I don't even say that we are attached, but that's what we're talking about. I think that it is a good case that where we are with our current farm and what we're doing, what we want to do with the land, we have too many pigs. And we have one boar who is phenomenal and he's a stud and he's sweet and he just has a better personality. And then we have the female who is subpar genetics. And she's the only adult pig and we do not have pork in our freezer.
We don't have pork in our freezer. I'm sitting here considering, why do I have such a problem with this idea? Like, I can't get past the butcher part. And I think it's because I take this too personally. I'm like, if you could butcher the mother of our pigs, could you butcher the mother of our babies?
Are you serious?
I think I'm taking it again. Maybe I'm hormonal. I'm still nursing a baby. But I'm like, how could we? How could this poor piggy has given us her life and her babies, the fruit of her loins, and then we would eat her. And if I step outside of this emotional, hormonal, crazy person moment, then I really do think logically, and I'm like, well, any other animal on the homestead that's not performing, we have butchered roosters and chickens and rabbits and all of these things. They're just smaller. And maybe it's me unpacking the parts of the homestead I really like. I like the bigger animals. I am not a goose mama. I am not a chicken lady. I like the pigs and I like the cows. I don't know that I would like goats. I think I would like sheep. But those four-legged ones, I'm kind of like, I like them. So if I break it down on paper or use our current rubric, if an animal is not performing...
Did you just make up that word?
Rubric?
I have such a bad vocabulary.
Have you never heard of rubric?
No, it sounds like a spice.
I can't even think of what spice that sounds like rubric.
What does that mean?
If it sounds like anything, it sounds like a Rubik's Cube. It's like a measurement, like a standard, like a criteria. You know criteria.
Yes.
We've used this word before.
A rubric.
A rubric. It's like a measurement or standard. So like our rubric on our farm is animals all have jobs.
Correct.
And when an animal doesn't do that job, it doesn't stay. So you could sell it, you could butcher it, you could use it to feed another animal, like lots of options.
This is true.
If we go by that, yeah, Missy, she's looking like pork chops.
Now,
which I do love.
It would not be right away. She needs some time. She still has to, so giving everybody
our timeline of...
Yeah, we kind of just jumped on this. We were sitting here in the studio. We have a babysitter and
Thanks,
we
Leah.
started talking about this conversation And I forgot how you said something. You're like, oh, this would be good content. And I was like, yeah, I kind of thought about just
and I said, but I don't want to put on a bra, so we're not going to video this.
So it's just straight audio. So this is Kelly and I having this conversation only for the second time. And this is the first time.
It's really the first time because you just said, wait, let's record.
Well, because I brought it up and you're like, I cannot handle that right now. You're like, nope, we're not talking about that.
We were in the car and you were like, well, I think we would butcher her. And I just had this visceral response and I thought, I don't think I am emotionally stable to talk about butchering a mother.
So let's fly over the field so that everybody knows the full story. We're not going to butcher you.
We're not butchering a mother.
No mothers are getting butchered.
No
this
mothers
is not
were
that
harmed.
kind of podcast. So we have a pig who is a sow who has had piglets. And when we bought her, she was, I'm sorry, she is subpar genetics for the Idaho pasture pig breed. Versus if we're looking at Bill and Missy, Missy is the reason why her piglets don't look as good as Bill. Now, I know that's
sounds pretty sexist, Bo.
I know
50-50.
I know that is that the Idaho pasture pigs, like, you want to be very specific of the breed. But I do feel like if we had, now that could be another thing, is that Bill, when we got him, was really short and fat. And he was just like his belly would drag.
Chunky baby.
Yeah, we fed him too much and he was locked in and we didn't get him exercise. Now he looks like a bear. Like, he looks fantastic.
Boar.
He looks great. I am very happy with him and I want more of that. And I just feel like our options, we have current, so basically Missy has 5 piglets. One of those piglets is a runt. Like, when we say runt, no, it is a quarter
at this point.
It is
She's
a quarter.
Just failure to thrive.
It is bad. Like, we're every day I'm thinking going out there, is she dead? Now she is showing a little bit more meat, a little bit more bone. She's growing, and I think we are going to move this weekend, probably tomorrow.
We have a solution.
We're going to extend their little pen, and we're going to move the 4 boys, which we have castrated 2 of them. We're going to wait to see if the other 2 are breeder quality. And then we're going to leave the little girl, only one girl, with Missy and see if she can bounce back. So that'll give Missy a little bit of time to recover, and it'll give the piglet all the time to get all of her teats.
Well, she'll nurse without competition and she'll have, a little more space just to herself. Like, right now, I think it's probably stressful for a tiny little bean to try and compete over these big boys because one of them's beefy.
Yeah.
One of them's porky.
He is. And then this also will give Missy some time to repair her body so that she can fatten up a little bit. And so for us to start.
This little piggy is going to go to market.
Which one?
Missy. That's what that means.
Yes, of course.
Did you know that?
You said this
little piggy goes to market. This little piggy went home. This little piggy had roast beef, and this little piggy had none. Do you know what that is?
Yes.
That's the different stages of the piggies before they are eaten.
Well, yeah, because you eat roast beef.
The piggy goes to market.
Left over.
Then that piggy was too small, so it went home. And that piggy got fattened up on food.
Yeah.
These are the things they don't tell you. It's like a rockabye baby situation.
Well, we tell our kids. It's just that
it's not something I knew when I was our kids' age.
It's because of the generations. Like, we're first generation farmers.
Too far removed from ag. I think, so I was talking to one of my friends on Instagram, Candace, who's like us, like first gen homesteaders. She probably has homesteading and farming in her background, but like they're starting their own homestead. They've got a couple of dairy cow, and she and I were talking about them downsizing all of their animals, but they got rid of all of their pigs, and they still have some Jersey. And she was just saying, like, they're in a season where it doesn't make sense for them to have these pigs if they're not producing the way that they need for their homestead. So some they're selling off and some they're butchering, and their sow is one of them. And so I just said, well, that's a really good point that I hadn't quite considered.
And they're coonies.
Yes. So they are even less meat than the IPPs. So if we have an Idaho pasture pig, we're going to get more freezer space full. And we don't waste the animal. So I feel good about that. And I have no problem thinking about, we've got 3 piglets. We're calling them the 3 little pigs. They're
Unfortunately.
Missy's last. So she has a litter she's with right now, but a previous litter, most recent, are the 3 little pigs. And so those guys are growing out. They will go to freezer camp in December of next year.
Yeah.
So 2024. And I think
hopefully sooner than that.
Because when they were born, because when they got here, their path was always either off the farm or in the freezer. Thinking about Missy, I need time, I think, to prepare my mind for the fact that she is either going off the farm to someone else or into the freezer. I just hadn't thought about that because when we got her role was for breeding. And in fairness, I never really was like, before we got the pigs, I was never, hey, let's be pig farmers. I was like, let's raise some pigs. And let's butcher them.
The first pigs we got was in 2020.
Bunch of
there were
mutts.
Just feeder. Yeah, there was just mutt feeder pigs. And then 2020 continued, 2021 continued. We got another 2 feeder pigs. And I started seeing, 2021, like everybody talks about 2020, but 2021 was whenever I started thinking, dude, this is going to continue.
Yeah, like people, supply chain issues really popped up. There was like this funny little honeymoon with quarantines and things at the beginning, and then it got exacerbated and the time took up. So the fallout of that was 2021. And
I started seeing our farm saying like, hey, we need, this was before we had the Goldie. So I wanted to have some sort of food that was easily creatable on our property. And we didn't really care so much about breeding, chickens or brooding chickens. So everything was relying on a
sustainable line of food.
Yes, it was. And so, I liked the idea of the Idaho pasture pig.
And it tastes fin. Well, we haven't had the IPPs yet, but raising our own meat, like that pork.
It is good. So what I mean is we currently are out of pork. We have a little bit of ground pork still, but we're basically out of pork.
Yeah.
So either if we want to buy that, then if we want to get that in our freezers, then we have to buy it from someone. Mm-hmm. There's nothing else. And because none of our feeder pigs are old enough.
Right.
So Missy it's just a store of value. Like it's kind of, I kind of think of it like Bitcoin. Like what's the best store of value?
Pig coin.
Can we sell Missy? I just can't. Pig coin. I get it.
I was going to say, that was a good dad joke. And you said nothing.
Because you keep on interrupting and I want to get the thoughts out.
Unfazed.
So it is
a store.
Where it is a store of value. Like meaning, can we get the value out of Missy for what truthfully, is she good or not?
We have fed her for years. We purchased her. We have put into her.
Well, I meaning like she's for Bill. So meaning, are we going to eat Bill? And my thought process is no. Like I think Bill,
because he can get you more.
I think he's like
ROI.
a $1,500 animal.
Holy cow!
I could be wrong. I have no idea.
On vacation.
I have no idea the market value of a proven beautiful IPP boar. I really don't.
He has made some great babies, but how do you know it wasn't her?
You don't. Now that's the other thing.
You could get another sow.
It might have been it might be a good idea to think about it and to wait for her in the winter. And we wait, to keep her, and we actually butcher her ourselves in the winter because we don't want to do this in the summer. That's just ridiculous. But we would also want her to fatten up a little bit and give her at least another month with this little runt.
This little piggy head roast beef.
So we wait and we see what's going to happen. And sometime after Goldie calves, then that would be our next animal project.
You've really thought this through.
This is how my brain works. I have to go through all the options, and most of the time, I can bring you a pretty decent thing, a pretty decent, and a lot of times it's wrong, but as I'm thinking through this, if the most value for Bill is keeping him alive,
yeah,
is that the same for Missy? Is
Meaning,
the most
if we
value?
were to sell her, are we really going to get
We bought her for
a
300.
higher? Yeah,
We
are
bought her
gonna
for
get more than
400 or 350. I can't remember.
that? And in turn, are you saying? So we bought her for 300. Let's say that number, and then if we were to sell her, we need to sell her for much more than 300 because we've gotten her, like, we've put so much into her. So it's like, what did we buy her for? How much have we put into her?
No, my question
And
is,
then,
can we sell her for even the $350 that we bought her because she's not a breeder? Like,
But
she's
what
a
about-
subpar breeder.
what about the second question, which is, could we even get meat for the same amount of money? Like, could we get that meat out of her? Like that, let's say we are all in on Missy for like $700. Could we get $700 worth of meat out of her? You know what I'm saying?
Sure, but I think you're thinking, I'm sorry. I don't want to call you out on the internet. You're thinking of this wrong. It is not what we have put into her. It's not
Look
what
who's talking. I have to consider all the options.
I know. I understand. But what I'm saying is, it is what is her value now? Not, you can't look at anything in the past because it doesn't matter. It's what is her value now? Is she if we had a professional IPP registry person, like someone who is way more experienced at this breed.
Genetics.
Yes.
Okay.
If they looked at Missy, would they say, yes, you can sell her as an IPP breeder? Now, that goes back to who we bought her from because she is registered as a breeder.
If she's already...
No, she already is registered as a breeder, but we want to do our best for the breed and continue to put out the best,
So
piglets
does that
that we
mean
can.
the person we bought them for didn't give a hoot and just sold us?
I don't want to throw her under the bus, but going back to it, yes, I think that she sold us
a lemon.
Yeah. And she didn't try to oversell it. She says, I have this. She used her words in a good way. She said, I have this female pig. So I'm selling her as a breeder because I think that she will pair well with your boar, who at that time was was super fat, was like overweight. He looked like a fatty.
Would you say that to his face?
Yeah. I would. I just now made a reel about him being obese and not a beast.
So mean.
Bill. So what I'm saying is, no, I'm not saying going back. I'm saying right now, is she par with Bill or is she subpar with Bill? And is it, so if we could sell her, maybe we could sell her for like just $400? Maybe? I don't know.
But I think that's speculation though, because you haven't really talked to anyone about it and you're not super confident in your capacity or your experience to tell us a market value of her currently. So maybe
absolutely.
she is a diamond in the rough. She is Mr. Aladdin, sir. You have no idea the value of this female pig.
So now the question is, because we're not going to do it for the next month for sure, because we need her to.
We're not going to do it
work
for
on this
4
runt.
months.
I'm saying she needs to work with this runt.
And it's 100 degrees.
What I'm saying, you're like going to fidget and break my audio
I'm not
things
breaking
right there.
anything. It's already shreddy.
What I'm saying is also to add to it, we have to keep her alive.
I don't think that's going to be a problem.
Honey, you don't want to make more piglets. And I don't want to make more piglets either, because I currently don't have as much
still
mental.
Talking about the pigs at this point?
Yes. I don't want to make those piglets either. I don't mind practicing, but what I'm stay on focus, on topic. What I'm saying is we have agreed that we are not going to breed for 6 months, for a year. Like we haven't fully, like this is us working this farm meeting thing, like
that should
topic
be the
out.
sound bite. We've agreed.
So
Not going to breed.
So when are we going to put any kind of female back in with Bill?
Well, I think that's our question is, are we getting out of pigs? The thing I like about the pig is it is the gentleman that pays the bills. I like that I don't feel bad about food scraps. Food waste is super sucky. I don't like it. I think it's ugly. I think it's wasteful. I think it's gauche. It's one of those things that people who never have to worry about how much they spend on food will just waste food. I think that's awful. And we live on a farm where any type of food waste can go into the compost or it can go to the pig. And the pig is great because then that pig can turn into food in our freezer. It continues, right? And the compost is good because then it turns into food in the garden. But I like giving it to the pigs. And we'd still have chickens. We can still give our food scraps to the chickens. I just don't know if we want to get rid of pigs, but it also is really financially irresponsible to have a pig with no intention of ever eating him. I don't think we ever have an intention of eating our boar. And if we're never going to eat him, then why are we still feeding him when we could put that money to other use for many other projects that our property needs?
Yeah, I think where I would like to give you the direction, the idea, the pitch. My suggestion is we separate the 4 little boy piglets and
chubby nuggets.
Yep, and leave the runt with Missy. We let that runt get bigger and stronger, and that allows Missy a little bit of a break and let her body recover. And we still keep on feeding the same amount, and we watch her body composition, and hopefully she gets stronger and beefier and fatter. Missy and the runt. Then once the runt is done, my suggestion is I'm not even going to say consider. I'm just going to like give you the suggestion because all of this is the line that I suggest all of this path. So
this is very formal.
I'm going to speak in like decision making. The path that I'm saying is after the runt is done, we butcher Missy and we get pork into our freezers. Because she's the biggest adult pig that actually could be eaten, that gives us another 9 to 12 months for the 3 pigs to grow up and fatten up.
With pork in the freezer.
With Missy in the freezer. Yes, with I know that sounds weird. With pork in the freezer, which it would be Missy. That also gives us that time to market the 3 pigs, feeder pigs, as feeder pigs for where we're going to sell pork.
Sell half a hog.
Sell half a hog. I mean, we probably would only sell like half a hog or 1 hog because they're smaller. So we probably want to keep the other 2 for ourselves. By that time, sorry to sound weird, but Missy's mostly going to be gone within 9 to 12 months. And within that 9 to 12 months, the 5 piglets without Missy are also growing up. That gives us that time to grow them out and decide what we're going to do, sell them as, 2 as breeders, the others as feeders. We keep on marketing. It's like, hey, you don't get the first 3 little piglets round and you can wait for the next ones. And then within that time, we start also searching for our next sow. And my thought is to buy a bred sow that is an adult where we can actually see her genetics of what it's going to be as an adult. We can, because whenever it's a piglet, it's hard to see what they're going to look like as an adult.
Yeah.
And really, as an adult, that is what you want. So I buy a proven, she's already had piglets once, and she looks great, and she's pregnant with another boar's genetics.
You are such a hoe.
And then we get her pregnant on our farm, and she has those next piglets. This would be this is 20. So this would be probably, I mean, this might be even 20.
So,
like this is the end of 2024, maybe even 2025. And
for the audience, though, you just okey doke, oop-de doop this right now. You're like, I think that this is the plan that we should do. And we'll bring her in with another boar's babies. Bah, 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 bah. It was like a flipping of the script. You were going down dulcet tones as you explain this
you
conversation.
didn't expect me to say
But
that?
I did not see the turn of events happening like that. This was like...
Because here's the deal.
This was like Michael Myers... Dr. Evil, like
as I
another.
Yes, as I reach for your hand, here's the deal. As I reach for your hand while we're doing the non-video, what this does,
convince
if
me.
She has a daughter, a female piglet, then both of them
This is like Harry Potter prophecies.
Both of them can be Bill's girlfriends.
What if she has no daughters?
Then, oops. That's it. Yeah. I mean that's the gamble. Yeah. But by then, hopefully by the time that we get rid of all of our piglets on our farm, then she has having her round of piglets. And then
I hear you. This is all well and good. And if we decide to keep pigs at all,
the only other option is for us to get the most money out of Bill and he leaves. And I don't think, here's the deal. You are worried about our children and the reaction, the fallout of what they would say about Missy being gone.
No, it's just about like,
if we get rid of Bill, that is the fallout. Even if he goes to our friend's house, he's going to come out and he's going to look at me every single morning. I miss Bill. He's my friend.
Do you think I am for this?
And who y'all who are listening to this, I understand. You don't name pigs. You don't name animals that you're going to, like, Bill was never one that we were going to butcher.
I don't think that's the case. I really don't think that's the problem here. It's not about whether we name them, if we're going to eat them or not, because we've named all of the animals.
I don't.
Except for
the kids do.
The meat chickens, but all the animals have good. We had Peter Porker in our freezer for a minute. Sure. So like I don't think I'm worried about that. I think it's more the idea, if I was under the impression that Missy was going to be a long-time commitment, I'm sure the kids are too. And they are unpredictable, emotional beings. You don't expect them to cry when some animal ends up dead. And then some of them you think like, let's really prepare them for this leaving. Like when we sold our cow and they were like sad, but also not that big a deal. And then when we took Taco, who was named Taco, to go to the butcher, Ella was like, I just didn't get to say goodbye. And I was like, really? Like we knew, yes, it was sudden. Let's be tender. Let's consider the circle of life. And maybe that's it. By that time, I might be in a better place. It might have been some time past since our children last had an emotional reaction because you just don't know. And there's like a lot of them. There are 5 children. So that's a lot of feelings to feel for a person like me
crying?
Who is not. No, I'm like, oh, a little bit stomach ache. Like, am I really going to want to deal with the feelings that go with them losing the pig?
Which is why
it's not happening today.
I feel like it's not happening today, and I do feel like keeping Bill is the best for
I'm not
that.
trying to get rid of Bill. I love Bill. I want Bill.
So
I just want us to think about how we're going to do this thing with a mama pig who is subpar. I mean, that's just the reality. It can't be as black and white as like, you don't perform well enough, you're gone. Because this is an animal that has now been well loved and attached by our kids.
less well loved. She is
they
not
don't
ever
like her. They don't want to like be in there cuddling with her. But
she is, yeah, and she just now, she did kill a chicken. I mean, that's there.
So rude.
I mean, I don't, and I think she's even hurt some of the other piglets. I think that it is.
But
it is
she
the
has
time.
done a good job. But yeah,
She
okay.
hasn't.
So you're right. Like if I look at her track record, she has smaller litters, even for the breed. Now I just feel like I'm bashing her though, and I'm like, she's trying her best.
It doesn't matter. She's done she's done her best. Her best wasn't good enough.
You're like a little league coach.
I mean, it is where we are. So
Your best wasn't good enough.
that's my pitch for us to consider. We can bring it back in the future, a future little farm meeting that you don't want to put a bra on, and when we just talk audio.
That's right.
This is super bizarre, me saying that out loud.
Well, the only
but
bad thing about a podcast is you can't eat snacks.
No.
Like there's just too much audio here. I would be podcasting all day long.
Okay, so if it was, I know that we got to go get the babysitter. So 10 out of 10 is like you're gung ho. You definitely want to be milking a cow in the fall again.
Deal.
And 0 is a absolutely not. We are not moving to California in August. So where are you on that scale of getting rid of, or how about this? 0.
This is like the worst scale.
It is.
What you need to say is 10 out of 10, you want to sell Missy or eat her. And 0 out of 10 is you want things to stay
I'm
the
saying
same.
10 out of 10, you want to butcher Missy and eat her. Mm-hmm. Where are you?
And the 0 is what?
We're going to keep her and have her sit in her own pen by herself so that Bill never breeds
you're
her and
making
feed
such a
her
bleak picture.
and never like
All right.
and
So
spend
like,
money on her.
then I'm like an 8.62.
Yeah. It's
I
happening.
am closer to the 9,
Yeah.
but still, it's too fresh. It's too fresh. She just has babies. She's still nursing. She is in milk, doing her best in 105-degree heat. I will not throw her out right now.
Cue white man.
Dun, 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 dun.
White man can't jump. It's pretty. It's so pretty. It's the correct choice. See you on the next one.
If you've ever wanted a guide to just get off your tail in Homestead already, we've got exactly what you're looking for and a fantastic discount. You're going to love our ebook, Get Off Your Tail in Homestead. It's full of lived experience and wisdom from a family who did exactly what you want to do. Break out of the city and get into that life of less stress and more freedom in the country. Find it on getoffyourtail.com and use our code PODCAST for 20% off our Get Off Your Tail and Homestead ebook. That 20% off code is just the word podcast, and Get Off Your Tail and Homestead ebook is yours.